Welcome to challenge 14. So let's go ahead and get started. We are doing another division problem, and this time we're looking at the numbers 21 and 27. So go ahead and store those two variables in those two values in two unique variables. And of course, we're going to use num1 and num2. And then the variable name QUOT as our quotient. So we're going to store quotient is equal to num1 divided by num2. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pseudocode and the flowchart. So we have, let's take a look at the pseudocode first. So we have store num1 equals 21. We have store num2 equals 7. And then we have store quotient is equal to 0. Then we're going to run the display elements, divide two numbers, and then also display num1 and num2 to the screen, run the math operation, and then of course display the output. Now, as indicated previously, I'm not going to go ahead and change the flow chart as it looks, but be sure that if you're changing something in the pseudocode, be sure to change it in the flow chart as well. Have those two structures match up so that it makes sense and that you don't get confused as you go forth, because what you really want to do is make sure that that logic really does work. And so the flow chart is the structural element that we can say, oh, okay, does this work and does this not work? And then at certain points, we actually, when our code becomes a bit more complex, we actually want to do what we call a desk check, which means that we actually want to run the math or whatever it's doing on pieces of paper and pencil to make sure that it actually does work before we even write the code. So like I said, there's a whole lot of planning that goes in front of actually writing code so that you're not making a whole lot of changes when you're actually on the computer. It's always necessary to plan. So that's why I reiterate that always, always, always. And we're looking at that as we create our pseudocode and we create our flowchart and then we write the code, because it's what we write in the code block that actually goes into the computer platform. So we have num1, num2, quotient, display, display, quotient math operation, and then display. Let's take a look at that from the code. So if we go back, we have 21 and 7. Let me go ahead and change these numbers. 21 and 7. So with that being said, we have the three stored variables. Down here, we have the three print statements. We have the math operation. Let me separate that out a bit. We have the math operation, and then we have the final display element. Let's go ahead and run this. And we have this program divides two numbers. Those two numbers are 21, 7, and we do get the correct output. So we are well on our way. Hopefully you are gaining value from this, and that creating and looking at code is getting better and better every day. I'll see you in the next challenge.